Okay, for some reason I'm not able to get a feed to Facebook. So what I end up doing is I make this video recorded and then we end up going from there. But let's go ahead and get started. We are live. Hope everybody's doing very well. Once again, Travis Witherspoon from Carter Cow Trading on Facebook. Trade with Travis on YouTube. Hope everybody's doing very well on this Wednesday morning as we take a look at the overall pairs and try to see if we can find any trading opportunity. Let's go ahead and go through the disclaimer. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. I understand that Forex involves risks. That involves risks of being able to make money. Also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So with that being said, showing myself onto the screen. Hopefully everybody's doing very well. It's my first time being able to see everyone in a while. Hope everybody's doing very well when it comes down to that. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find this feed again. Let's try that one more time. I'm getting an error message. Okay. This YouTube is online, but it's not on here. I'm going to try this one more time. Maybe there might be something I'm missing. I don't want to go to trending. I just want to go to my page. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Once again, I hope everybody's doing very well. And we'll go ahead and go through. I guess we'll do everything through YouTube this morning. Then after that, we'll switch it over to Facebook. Once again, I hope everybody's doing very well. I know I haven't shown myself on the screen for the last couple of days. It's been because of health-related reasons. Quite frankly, I had a coronavirus scare, and being close to a person that actually has it, and had to get tested and do everything else like that. And obviously, thank God I don't have it, but or still, I'm going to end up taking another test. But the first test ended up coming out to be negative, so that's a good thing. But wanted to make sure that we end up having an opportunity to be able to get everyone to be able to go through and have a chance to be able to learn Forex trading from everything else like that. So let's go ahead. Let's not waste any time. I hope everybody's doing very well, and we'll go ahead and get started with everything that we're looking at right now. So first thing, let's go ahead and go with the overall charts. The first news that they ends up saying a pound reached freshly highs at 1.3550. We were talking about that for a while, saying that we wanted to look at being able to buy or look at being able to sell against the dollar on pretty much anything that was basically shown. Reason being was because the U.S. dollar is very weak from a weekly perspective and from a daily perspective, and there's a lot of movement to the downside that's still yet to be able to come. And on some of my charts, I was able to take advantage of that, and then some of them I wasn't. I actually ended up turning off some of my EAs to try to refresh them, and I forgot to never turn them back on. So I got some of the movement on some of the trades, and then I didn't get some of the movement on some other ones. So hopefully my loss is your gain when it comes down to that. We end up talking about that a little bit earlier. So today it's expected to be a big day. We end up having some news a lot when it came down to what happened with market manufacturing PMIs. That was very good when it came down to Germany, Italy, and the Eurozone market just as a whole. With all of this surprising news, we end up having a very good push when it came down to the Eurozone against most pairs. And you're talking about Eurozone versus Japanese yen, Eurozone versus the United States dollar, right? Being able to see those movements. Now, if you look at what happened with Britain, and we see that their numbers were actually negative. So if you went euro versus the pound, you end up buying, then you should have seen some movement when it came down to that overall spot. What are we looking at a little bit later on today? Because today is probably the strongest day when it comes down to movement and everything else. From a trader's day perspective, fundamentals day perspective. We have retail sales going to end up happening a little bit later on today. We're going to end up having consumer price index from the Canadian dollar a little bit later on today. You have to pay attention to that. And then after that, we're going to have FOMC meeting minutes and the interest rate decisions that's going to end up coming out. The spark should fly when it comes down to seeing how the market's going to end up reacting to what's going to end up happening today, especially with the U.S. dollar. A little bit later on today, you're going to end up seeing GDP from the New Zealand dollar. So a few things to really kind of pay attention to on how this market is going to end up moving. It's going to end up being a lot of ups and downs, unless one currency just has a very straight shot when it comes down to all the news that they end up having. If it's very good for that. Very good for that pair. You'll see the market start to move very quickly. If it's not, then after that, you'll see the market start to get away. First thing on Bloomberg, what we're seeing is congressional leaders talk about progress and talks of basically stimulus checks and everything else like that. But there's no deal as of yet. So we'll have to be able to pay attention to that. Now, I go onto my charts a little bit earlier today, and typically I'm able to just hop into everything, and I go through and I lost pretty much everything. I don't know what happened. That's something that I have to be able to take a look at for myself. So we're not going to be able to go through every pair. We're focused in on the U.S. dollar index. We're focused in on the big three as a whole, and then after that, I want to talk about pairs in general that I like, that have some movement that we want to be able to capitalize on if there's some overall movement to be able to get into long term. And then after that, we'll go from there. From an EA perspective, none of my EAs are pretty much in a position to where I either turn them on or be ready to be able to put them in place to where they'll be set to go. So I'm going to end up literally, this is a manual trading day for me. So I wanted to make sure we end up taking a look at that, see if there's any opportunity, and then after that, go from there and be able to place that in. So US dollar index, let's talk about it. What do we see? First off, we see that if we shrink out this whole chart, we see that mostly since 2011, the market has been going up. But since this overall movement from here, the market has been pushing toward the downside. I'm going to focus in on this movement right here, because the market ended up hitting this overall low in 2018, and then I had this pushed up to the upside. This was broken. This was broken earlier in 2020 when the market ended up going to the downside. So what does that mean? That means that our focus is to the downside and being able to sell on the dollar. We talked about that earlier, talked about the movements that we should be looking at, and said that there was a movement down to 11,548 for the movement towards the downside. We are in a R3 position, meaning that what we're looking for is one-sided trading to the downside. So we're looking for every opportunity to be able to get high prices, to be able to sell down to this overall lower area. And from there, once we end up getting that, and once we end up getting those opportunities, then we're just looking to be able to sell down to this overall area. All right. With that being said, and we know that there's movement to the downside for us, that the next thing that we end up focusing in on is that we have to take a look at the daily. All right. So I'm just writing this out again. The extension 11,550. All right, we know that the weekly D extension's at 11,550. We know that this overall movement has made this movement to the downside. Sorry about that. So if we're looking at this, we want to focus in on this high price right here. And literally, the only people that literally get to see me break it down like this are the people inside of my masterclass. So since we have not necessarily had an opportunity to be able to go through everything, and my charts this messed up, hopefully this will kind of give you some insight on what it would take for this overall being able to trade it. If we're looking at this towards the downside, we talked about a D extension at 11,650. What does that mean? That means that we should be looking at buying on all of these pairs and finding opportunity. Once you find that opportunity, then you want to trade it. You definitely want to trade it to the downside. Currently, right now, we have this market starting to curl over again. We're definitely in the R3 zone for this. The daily D extensions at 11,650. So what does that mean? Continue selling. All right, we want to continue selling. 11,650. We want to continue selling toward the downside. Once we end up getting that, then we have an opportunity to be able to capitalize on this movement toward the downside. There shouldn't be a reason why we should be looking at buying. Really, there's no reason at all why we should be looking at buying at this case, because it's proven to us that the bears have wanted to be able to push the market down. The market is going to end up continuing to go down until we have a catalyst. That catalyst has not been shown as of yet. So with that being said, we're just going to keep on focusing in on these overall movements to the downside until we end up hitting those. Buying this is futile. Buying this is basically giving away money. I want everybody to be able to understand that. trying to buy this at this particular point, whether you have a strong move one day or anything else like that, a strong movement to the upside just means a retracement that you should get high enough to be able to sell. Not looking at anything else when it comes down to that. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's take a look at U.S. oil. Once again, I'm going to update U.S. oil. Actually, it saved my chart. Perfect. All right, so if we look at what's happening with oil, we said that there was a daily D extension at 48.84. This is a little bit higher. I believe that the D extension is at 50 that we was looking at. But currently right now, what are we looking at? We're in an R3 position. We're definitely at the top movement of this. We should see this market start to really kind of push up for this overall movement. We've had opportunities on being able to buy this and being able to stay in on buys on this overall position. Currently right now, we're still up on this overall pair. But like I said yesterday, turned off the systems. I know from an expert advisor perspective and did not get into any more buys. If you're looking at being able to trade this, should you look to be able to trade this right now? Can you get in at this particular point? I guarantee when I look at this, we'll be in the sell zone. Well, we're not in the sell zone, but we're getting close to this overall level. What I would look for is if you can get a dip in a price. If you can get the dip in a price, then after that, I would look at being able to buy it. If not, then I would kind of stay away from it. We're clearly almost closer to the push zone to be able to complete it. And right now, with that being said, we're talking about risk reward at this particular point. There's not enough risk reward, then there should be no trade on this position. So the extension is at 48.74. That was the 2-hour D extension. The daily D extension from the crown movement was up to 50. I think it was 50.95, I believe, from the last time we ended up taking a look at it. Currently, right now, we're close, but we're not there yet. So staying away from that pair. Not doing anything with that pair as of yet either, even though I like what we see. Let's take a look at what's happening with silver. We end up talking about how this market ended up breaking the counter trend line at $24. He said anything that you could be able to buy at $24, take it and be able to know that it's going to ride up to the upside. If you end up doing that, then congratulations. You end up getting a strong movement to the upside when it got to $25.50, and then after that pushed up. The market was in the sell zone, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. And we were talking about how this market was basically at this channel level. And we said, okay, what is going to end up happening? Are we going to look at this market breaking the overall support and then pushing up, or is it going to end up remaining to be inside this overall movement toward forward the channel? Well, the channel play actually ended up playing out. And now what we're seeing now is it's hitting the outer trend line, and it should be going toward the inner trend line, or basically the resistance level of the actual resistance level of the actual movement toward the upside. This is something that we truly expected. So we're looking at being able to buy it all the way up to 27, all the way up to $30 a barrel. $30 an ounce. And currently right now, if you did not get in yesterday, or you did not get in 2 days ago, quite frankly, you missed out on the opportunity of being able to catch most of this overall move. What would I be looking for? I would look for the market to be able to fall down to support and give you another chance to be able to get in. If you could be able to do that, then after that, look to be able to buy it long term. I think that will probably end up being one of the better situations. We're getting closer to the buy zone. This would be a better position to be able to ride this thing all the way up. And be able to go from there. So silver, I'm very much interested in being able to turn the system back on. Like I said, anything below $24 a barrel. I keep on saying a barrel because I'm thinking about oil. Anything below $24 an ounce will end up being a very good price to be able to get into. Right now, if you're looking at trying to get in, you're going to see diminishing results unless you can be able to get it low enough to be able to get in from that overall position. So that's what I'm looking for overall. Let's take a look at what's happening with gold. Hopefully some of my gold stuff kept up. No, it didn't. That's awesome. So from a weekly perspective, remember, market hit the D extension. We're expecting that this market is going to go all the way up to 23. I have it at 23, but right now it's showing 24. We look at a counter trend line break and see how this market is actually moving. This market has not broken a counter trend line break towards the upside as of yet, but we have moved down almost to the sweet spot area. Currently, right now we're at a R5 position. R6 position. But even with that being said, one of the better things about what I'm looking at is that we see that this market has reached a 50% point, and it is in the buy zone based off the daily. So that means that we should see some movement towards the upside if we can be able to get that at some point. All we have to do is just focus in on that overall low, and based off of the daily chart, we can start to see that this movement has started to already happen. Now, exactly what does this mean? This means that this movement right here, before it breaks this overall counter trend line to the upside, is the overall first retracement, or the overall first movement that we should be paying attention to all the way up to the upside. Now, we have a counter trend line break on this move. This market is expected to go back up to the 1943 area. I do like that as an overall push. The question is that, do we have a chance to be able to get in at this particular point to be able to ride this wave from yesterday and today? Yesterday was a very strong move. The market ended up going all the way up to 1855, and then after that started to push down. I've seen 1860 as a whole today, and trying to see how the market's going to end up reacting off of that. So if we go to the 2 hour, once again, the thing that I'll be focusing on is that we asked this question a little bit earlier. Are we looking at consolidation? Are we looking at a push to the upside and just another rejection? If we're looking at that, then we want to see if we can be able to get it at a lower price and be able to ride this thing out from there. Stimulus talk, I think, will be a good thing for this overall pair. Vaccination talk was a good thing for being able to see the market push to the downside. So are we going to see any more vaccination talk at this particular point in time? Maybe. I don't think that we'll end up seeing as much as we think that we are, unless there's something that's completely bad with the system. And if there's something completely bad with it, then that means that it only is going to end up pushing gold back up. We focus in on what's going to happen with retail sales and everything else like that. That may be another reason why we should see the market start to fall. If we get the market to be able to fall towards this 1824 area again, which is proven to be natural support, then I will look at being able to buy it once again long term. Now, this daily move was in the sell zone because the daily move, because the daily move was starting to point towards the downside. We've been waiting for this market to get back into the buy zone before actually buying. I am interested in being able to buy long term. Once again, I turned off my systems and I got rid of the only buys that I had, and my buys that I ended up getting into was right around the 1844 area, which now seems like a very good steal compared to being in a bad position overall. And that's just my personal opinion about what I'm looking at for this movement. We should see that the market should have a slight dip today, and then after that, we should see the market start to push up overall for this movement. Now, a couple of pairs I want to focus in on U.S. base wise, and once again, all of my worksheets and everything else like that have been, for some reason, erased. So I have to talk to the people about that. But let's focus back in on what we said about the pound United States dollar. We said that the pound was going to end up falling to support. We said it could end up falling to these two natural support levels, 1.330, and then after that, push back up. That's exactly what ended up happening. This thing has basically had a jetpack on it over the course of the last 2 days since hitting that position and going up 200 pips to the overall upside, with the D extension expected to be at 135.84. Currently, right now, we're in a push zone, and we're a few pips away from the market actually end up hitting that overall area. Currently, right now, if you did not get in, I would not look at being able to get in right now. The movement does not make sense to be able to get in at this particular point right now. I will wait for a 2 hour low. You can find a 2 hour low. Then after that, I will look at being able to get in. But it's actually broken a downtrend to the downside as well, where we end up seeing a huge push to the upside. And this is another one of those pairs where I'm kind of upset at this particular point that I ended up turning off my systems yesterday for some of them, just to be able to make sure that I can compensate for some other things. And sometimes that happens, but at the same time, we know what the direction is. We know that the market is going to 138. We're clearly in a push zone that's about to happen. Once again, I would look for any type of low price that you could be able to get, and know that you want to be able to ride this thing all the way up to where you can be able to get a very good price to the upside. So that's what I'm paying attention to. We can see that the market has went and hit the buy zone, broken the counter trend line break, starting to move up to the upside. That's all good news for us being able to say that this market is going to really push. But currently right now, we see that the market is a little bit overbought. So only thing that we're looking for is a slight retracement We can get a slight retracement, then after that we can go. Now the question is, we talked about the overall natural supports of where the market was yesterday. So 2 days ago. So where's the market going to end up falling down to today to be able to find another position? Well, naturally, if we're looking at another position, I will focus in on this area right here, which is probably right around that 134.20-ish area. We can see that it kind of fell down to that support level. Somewhere around here, anywhere around that area, I think is a very good price to be able to get into. So 134.40 will probably end up being a position that I would look for trying to get in if this market does break down and fall. We've seen that it's done actually turned into an actual support level once time before. Maybe we might get it, maybe we might not, but that'll be the position that I would look at being able to get into as a whole, and being able to go from there. Let's focus in on the euro, United States dollar. Once again, this all this stuff is basically done messed up my charts. I don't know what happened. That's something I have to talk to with everyone else to try to see if I can be able to get that fixed, if I can find my charts, because I've literally had almost 40 charts up here, and quite frankly, I don't have anything here today, which is upsetting, but at the same time, I still got to get that work. So market's in an R3 position right here. Market is about to have a sediment change. We see this market starting to move up to 123. 123 is the new the extension for this overall movement. 125 is the natural position where we are going to end up seeing the market start to move back up to, which was 2017 highs from before the market actually started to move, before Trump actually ended up getting in office. So what are we looking at? Currently right now, we're about, from this point, we're about 170 pips away from this overall movement. Can we find something off of a 2 hour to be able to get in? That would be the question. We go to the 2 hour. Actually, let me go back to the daily real quick. All right, here goes your 2 hour move right here. Currently, right now, what we see is this 2 hour actually end up breaking a small consolidation level, which was right here. Not necessarily the greatest type of consolidation level, but we do see a breakout. So we should be looking at a retest of this overall movement, which means that we should see a small movement towards the downside, probably. We can see that the stochastic is kind of grinding from that position, kind of pushing to the upside. What I will look for is that either this market is going to hover around this overall area and then start to push up, or it's going to end up pushing all the way down inside of this area, creating a new support and then going back up. But 121.20 seems like a natural support level that the market has said that this is going to be the next level or the next area where we're going to start to push up toward the upside. We said that the D extension is at 123.30, right around that 123 area. 125 will probably end up being the natural area where the market is going to end up going. Currently, right now, we still have about 120 pips away that we can be able to take advantage of. I'll be looking at upside movement after we get low prices. We get low prices, then after that, we'll look at being able to buy long term all the way up to that position. If we get that, then overall, I think that would be good for us being able to trade this. Right now, what would I look for? Is there any type of trading opportunity as of yet? No, because the market needs to fall down just a little bit more. We can get that, and I think we end up being good. Okay, let's get off of this. Let's go to the indexes, because I know that I still have my index charts. Let's go to US 30. Take a look at what's happening with this. Remember, we're talking about triangles and being able to see the ascending triangles and descending triangles and trying to figure out what the heck was going on with these overall positions. So if we go to the daily, what we looked at, we've seen a W pattern. We broke out, retest, and pushed back up. We end up making a lot of funds going up to the upside. We said that this market position that we wanted to get out at a 30,476. We end up seeing this ascending triangle. This market starts to pop down to the upside, and right now we're looking at it hitting resistance again. The daily is not giving us any movement because the market was in consolidation. All right. So what does that mean? The movement always goes to what zone we're actually in. We're above the overall trend line movement. So basically we're in the push zone. Because we are in a push zone, I will look at upside movement. I will only look at upside movement at this particular point in time. We talked about how this market was basically hitting support, going to resistance, hitting support, going to resistance. Currently right now, we end up hitting the support. We're going up to resistance again right here. There's two ways that we can be able to trade this. And I'm getting ready to erase this because I got too much stuff right there. But there's two ways of being able to make a play off of this. The first one will end up being this. Market pushes out. We have a breakout. We look for a retest. And then after that, we push back up to the upside. And then after that, buy for that overall position. But I have to break out of this triangle to be able to do so. Okay, the second way we end up being is that if the market falls back down to a natural support line, which would be right around the 30,000 area, and then after that we can be able to buy, hoping that the market will do the same for that overall movement. I would not look at selling on this overall position. I will only look at buying because the market is in the push zone and the thing giving us an idea about what's going to happen with this overall movement. Because of that, I will look at only buying to the overall upside and being able to get that force the overall movement to the upside. If we can, then that's great. If we can't, then quite frankly, we'll just wait for better opportunities when that happens. But I do like that for the overall position. Now I can be able to turn on my alerts to be able to say, will the market break the trend line to the upside? If it breaks the trend line to the upside, then now I know what's going to end up happening. Let's see. So this would be US 30 broken channel. If we look at that, then after that, we're looking for the retest based off of that movement. All right, so currently right now, is there anything to do right now? No. We're not paying attention to not doing anything at this particular point. But once we get a chance, then I end up looking at trading it long term. Now it's 100. What do we see? Now it's 100, closer to the sell zone. We had that W pattern, but we did not have the triangle on this one. We got the W pattern to the upside. We got a counter trend line break to the downside. We're looking at sediment change that's about to happen and break the new high from this particular point. If we keep on seeing that, then the market will go up to 13,098 with relative ease if that does happen, because we can look and see that we can see that price and volume and everything else will slowly start to dwindle off if we can be able to break that area. Now, does that mean that we need to run and jump into this overall price? Not necessarily. I would love to be able to get into it, but I would like to be able to get into it at the right price. But that also means that I'm only looking at being able to buy. And if we get that buying opportunity, then we have to be able to ride that buying opportunity towards the long term for this overall position. So once again, exactly what does that mean? When we go to the 2-hour perspective and we take a look at this position, we can see that we hit a 2-hour D extension already. The market is starting to retrace a little bit. This is a lot of old charts. Okay. Very much a lot of old stuff. Let's see. Everyone, give me 1 second. Okay. So what does that mean? I'll wait for a low price, and I want the market to be able to hit a natural support, and then after that, look at buying again. My EAs are not going to end up catching this one because of the gap of where the moving averages are for being able to say that. And I keep on saying EAs. You don't know what an EA is an expert advisor. Basically, what we do over here at Carter Cow Capital is build codes or find developers that do a very good job at building codes for overall in trading pairs, and it gives you the opportunity to be able to trade it without necessarily being the expert in it. The code will end up basically trading for you based off of being able to have a set loss. Being able to have a stop loss, take profit, and a overall entry strategy of being able to place in, and the wins at a 60% rating or higher when it comes down to overall success. Essentially, what that does is it allows you to be able to free up your time for being able to not necessarily be in front of the charts, and also allow you to be able to do life while it actually ends up trading for you. So my NAS 100 system over the course of since December 1st has made over $1,000 for the overall movement to the upside. And quite frankly, what I mean is this. I'm saying that we don't have an opportunity of being able to trade this pair as of yet. And the reason why I don't think we have an overall trading opportunity was because the crossover ended up happening on the 14th, which was 2 days ago. We would have caught that crossover to the upside and basically end up buying it from that overall position. Then we would have been riding this position all the way up. I ended up taking that overall buy. I actually ended up taking a sell to the downside right here a little bit earlier, where we end up catching a lot of pips for that movement toward the downside. But we just have not got that pip toward the overall upside right now. Then from there, we're just waiting on to see how the market's going to end up moving from there. So that's pretty much it where we're at this particular point. So paying attention to this movement to the downside, what do we see? We see that momentum starting to push up to the upside, but I would love to see that this market starts to drop a little bit. If it can drop back towards this overall point of control to 11,450, I think that'll be a very good area of being able to get in for it, being able to buy towards a long-term D extension. We see that it's already done hit a 2-hour D extension. With it hitting a 2-hour D extension, now we have to create a new fib towards that one. I don't know how entirely accurate this is, once again, because this is I think I have an old chart that I'm looking at, and I might have to update everything. But if we're looking at based off of what I'm seeing, that would be our retracement. Our retracement has already fell down to the 382. The extension will be 13,377. Currently, right now, we're still basically in a R2 movement. We do have a healthy break to the downside. The only thing that I would look for is a upside movement. If we can be able to get that, then I think that we'll be fine. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. Like I said, my charts actually end up messing up on me. I have to sit up there and be able to fix those charts a little bit and be able to go from there. If you like what we end up doing, please make sure to subscribe to Trade with Travis on YouTube. Make sure that you end up liking the Carter Cow Capital business page, and make sure that you end up following us on IG. And from there, also give us a chance to be able to fix up everything and kind of show you what we do from an everyday basis. This month we've done over $2,000 for its overall movement toward the upside. Once again, all of that is fully automated. And obviously we have our manual trades, and we do everything else like that from a manual trade perspective, which is always great. But it's always good to be able to know that you can be able to go to sleep and wake up and know that money is working for you. And it's doing it at a very good pace. So if you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more like that, all you got to do is go to our business page, and you can be able to take a look at what we're doing from there. Like always, plan your trade, trade your plan. I see each and every one of y'all tomorrow. Take it easy.